I don't know whether this is the feeling that you ladies have, but I almost feel like the world is closing in on us. I've lived, as I think both of you have, as a free woman, a free Jew, my whole life, thinking about the persecutions of past almost intellectually. My family, had to run out of Spain, and we did, and I'm sure that you have stories from your own families. And I mean, apart from the wonderful news of the helicopter going down from Raisi, I just feel that every day brings another blood libel, brings another set of people who've decided to turn their backs, attack, put out the pitchforks for the Jewish people. And of course, I'm talking about yesterday's latest stunt, which is the ICC, the International Criminal Court, putting out arrest warrants for the democratically elected Prime Minister of the State of Israel, alongside the Hitler of today, the Osama bin Laden of this story, Yahya Sinwar, who cut babies' heads off, his people raped women, and have still got with him 132 hostages, 128 hostages. We don't know whether they're alive or dead. Vivian, you're a lawyer. You also are somebody who knows the international legal apparatus quite well. Did you ever think we'd get to this point?
Yes. I'm not surprised at all.
So talk us through this.
But I'm going to just, sort of like dampen expectations a little. I follow, I am engaged, I understand the international legal apparatus.
Working with it.
I know, but yeah, I just want to undersell my international.
Oh, please don't.
Okay. All right. So here's the first thing. It's true. She's right. Like, we always do that. We always undersell.
Yeah.
As a man, I'd be saying I run the world.
Exactly.
And I should.
But we should run the world. Girls.
Do a great job. Okay. So first of all, I just want to clarify one point, that the International Criminal Court yesterday did not actually issue warrants.
True.
They
made an application.
They basically put out a statement and made a big public circus of the fact that they intend to apply to the court to have warrants approved so that they can be issued. Okay. So what was really weird, there are so many weird things going on, but, just your overarching comment. Yes, I feel the walls closing in. I feel the ceiling coming down, and I feel the floor just disappearing on us. It's really unprecedented. It's just everything. As soon as you get used to this new insanity, right, and start to figure out how we're going to live in it, everything gets crazier.
A new insanity comes the next day.
It's just wild. And so what happened yesterday was, usually when the International Criminal Court decides to do something so momentous, which it's done very few times in the past, it communicates with the targets, in this case, Prime Minister Netanyahu and Yoav Gallant.
You mean the ICC would have been in touch with the Israeli political leadership to talk about what they're trying to do, or what
political leadership, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, that wouldn't just, and this was truly just dropped. So Karim Khan, Englishman, chief prosecutor of the ICC, King's Counsel, very highly regarded, apparently. By all accounts, a sober, reflective, responsible counsel, lawyer, barrister. But he's become surrounded by these human rights activists, among them Amal Clooney, among them many Arabs and other activists who have made no secret of their hatred towards the state of Israel over decades. And these people, a group of these people, became his main advisors.
And they can act with impunity.
Well, they seem to be able to. I mean,
but also they're acting outside of their jurisdiction, aren't they? We are not a signatory to the treaty.
Right.
The United States, by the way, is also not a signatory to the treaty. But essentially, they are doing something extrajudicious in terms of our participation.
Well, let me
apart from stretching.
So there's the jurisdictional issue is a really big and important one, but I want to just outline something else around the circus, which is in the statement of the court. Khan referred to the territory of Israel.
Yes, and the state of Palestine.
And the state of Palestine.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a gong show, but it's a really serious gong show. So do they have jurisdiction in and over Israel? Well, that's where it gets really interesting. We say no. They say, well, yeah, because the whole Palestine-Israel thing isn't really decided. Your borders aren't final. Well, but this is what...
But we're a democracy and we have our own judicial system. And
that's the other really important point, is that before you even get to the stage where you're going to issue a warrant for arrest, there's a whole investigation, examination that goes on. And they just kind of bypassed the whole investigation stage and said, nah, we're going straight for the jugular.
This was Pitchfork's stunt.
So crazy and irresponsible.
Crazy, responsible, and I think very dangerous.
Very dangerous.
For peace-loving countries, for democracies, they're basically criminalizing self-defense. Ashira, how do you see things all the way from the United States? Has it hit the headlines? Is it something people are talking about? What's going on over there?
Yes, I was in the community yesterday and everyone is just outraged. You're like, this is absurd. It's a monkey court, as you guys mentioned previously on previous episodes that we talked about, that they can put Bibi alongside Hamas leaders, you know, a terrorist organization that committed genocidal acts against us on October 7th, to then put Bibi Netanyahu alongside them is just ridiculous. Also, I know you mentioned that the U.S. is not a member of this court. Israel is not a member of this court. No, like major state is. Russia, India, China is not a member of this court. And I'm just like, why are people even taking this court seriously? I looked into like their past warrants of arrest. It's been like, I don't know, a few warlords from Africa that are, you know, are members of the court. So my question, Vivian, really is, if we're not members, what can they do? Does this just fall down to being a performative act? And can the U.S. place sanctions on this court?
So both really good points. I just want to make clear, you're absolutely right, that many major powers, certainly I think the majority of the UN Security Council, are not signatories to the statute that created the International Criminal Court. Having said that, most of Western Europe, I mean, all of Western Europe is, South America, most countries, and they have tried Milosevic. And
they did try, but also, who are the people they haven't tried?
Well, that's real.
Bashar al-Assad, who killed 500,000 of his own people, the dictator in Syria. I mean, his father killed about 100,000. It's a long list of real genocidal dictators, evil people. Raisi, I'm not going to say Zichrono Livracha, Raisi, who is now dead thanks to a helicopter
and who they
crash,
are busy honoring.
And who they honored with a 1-minute silence at the UN yesterday. The people of Iran must be honestly so offended and feel so invisible right now when the world communities are bending over backwards to honor the butcher of Tehran who killed so many women, who killed so many people. It's just, that's what we feel.
We have no moral compass. But I just want to address Ashira. I think it was I love the way you phrased it when you asked, well, is this just all performative? They don't have jurisdictions. But right now, what it does is it turns us, it puts us on a pedestal, a pariah nation that our prime ministers, and I'm no Bibi fan, that the prime minister of Israel and the minister of defense are equated anywhere
with an arch terrorist,
with these savages, says to me, we're beyond redemption. They're
beyond redemption.
Well, the Western world is beyond redemption.
Yes.
We are in the midst of whatever it turns out. We're in the midst. We're all going in the blender together. God knows what's going to come out of it. But the next few years aren't good. We're going to be isolated and vilified and demonized. And the fact that the chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court had the audacity to stand up as a professional barrister, which means something to some of us still, and make these allegations with no evidence. It's all word of mouth. It's indirect testimony.
Indirect testimony plus lies.
So let's say the warrant does get approved for arrest. Does that mean if Bibi was to fly to one of the member states of this court, that that country would arrest a sitting prime minister?
If the country actually made good on that arrest warrant.
I think they actually have to.
They have to?
I don't know. I'm not an expert in that.
They have to.
I think they do have to exercise the warrant. But what it means, for example, so, if Bibi wants to go to America, which he can still do, right? Because they're not signatories. But we talk about threading a needle with your flight path. Because if you're in the airspace of any signatory countries, i.e. Europe, they can force the plane down.
They can?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty crazy. And listen, there's still hope that some sober minds will prevail and that they will not succeed in that application. Is there any hope?
I don't know. Who are the sober minds we're talking about? Who are they? Biden?
No. The people in the court who have to decide whether to allow this to happen or not.
Oh.
But I think some good governments have already come out, like the UK, like the US, and have called this for what it is, the absurdity that it is.